in, Tano, I think it'll be a good way to remind everyone kind of the two main storylines of these teams, right? And their path to
Mm.
get into the losers finals. So we have NYS that's going to be waiting in the grand finals, and they've knocked out, the ONIC Rise, right? It's the chance at redemption for them. Meanwhile, Elevate has gone through the losers bracket. Massive run today. So both of these teams, they really want that chance to play off in that grand final. So we're going to get off with the draft here. Leafeon and a Slobo band. Pretty typical, I would have to say. Nothing too special right now for these two teams.
Yeah, and then a Mimikyu ban. We've seen that a lot already today. We saw it a lot yesterday as well. The all rounders are so strong in this meta at the moment, Fu, right? That you almost instantly expect to see at least 2 or 3 all rounders banned, and we see the Cerulean getting banned again there.
Yeah, speaking of all-rounders, that means Blaziken is up for grabs, but it seems like Junior Absent is actually going to choose Umbreon there as their priority. So I'm keen to see if ONIC Rise actually goes for that Blaziken pick, or they're going to also prio something different. So Sylveon, no, they're going to go for the Hooper there from Zoe, and Dev hovering over this Lapras, which is kind of in an interesting spot right now, I think, this Pokemon.
Yeah, I would have been excited but surprised to see it picked, but instead we get the Mamoswine that has been played a huge amount today. It is really good on that CC. Once you do get it running, it is a really strong mon, and it takes a lot to take it down. Also, Swinub is a pretty good laner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to match that, Temp Z going for that Trevenant here. So Trevenant has an interesting, I guess, mechanic with its Horn Leech at the moment. So I'm keen to see whether they're actually going to go with that move. I think the displacement is a little bit different to what we're used to. Cramorant getting locked in is a great pick, I think. Cramorant able to, change up its positioning very, very easily. I think it goes really well into something like a Mamoswine that can just grab you out of the way if you're not careful. So they are going to lock in the Lapras there, Dev. So double front lines for ONIC Rise and that Blaziken, which you talked about, coming out from Eeyore.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. But over on Elevate, we do have really good range, right? They've just picked up that Inteleon. They've got the Cramorant back there. So it seems like ONIC are going to need to come up with some sort of thing for their own range. I believe with that front line that they've got there, it's really good, well set. With that Blaziken as well to do so well in the melee. Aegislash getting picked up from Elevate is a really good shout. You do need more of a melee mon, and it can be very, very strong. But as I say, the range was needed on ONIC Rise. Do you get any better range than a Bimufu?
No, you don't. There's something to point out as well. It seems like both the teams like that double front line, maybe kind of like a protect the president situation I can see from Elevate. They want to keep that Inteleon as far away as possible. Obviously, it's matched by that Venusaur, which is what you talked about. So on paper, this looks like a very exciting matchup from both these teams. We don't really see Aegislash too much. I feel like the Unite is a bit of a lackluster kind of move. If you think about all the other Pokemons, when you Unite, it's kind of like the powerhouse that comes through, maybe the clutch timing. But for Aegislash, it's really just to secure. I think the damage potential isn't really as much as something like a Verdant Anger coming out from that Venusaur.
Yeah, very true. But one thing that it will be able to do is when you use the, I can't remember if it's Iron Head or the other move where you pull it up and if you get hits on it, you do get those boosted attacks that you can use. If you use that as you're just about to get beamed from a Venusaur, that's got some pretty good boosted for you. So, and then you can just run straight into a fight with that and try and target onto those squishy mons. So it's going to be a really interesting game this week. Both of these comps look really tasty.
For sure. And I think from secure point of view as well, it probably is a good way to combat against something like the Solar Beam and also the Blaziken overheat that ONIC Rise is going to bring to the match, just in case things get a little bit dicey at that Rayquaza fight. But here we go. Game number 1, Tano, for our losers finals here. We've got Elevate on the purple team, ONIC Rise on the orange team. As they head up there, Lapras is going to go as that top all-rounder kind of ish position, I guess, taking the top path, while Swinub is going to go for that bottom path there.
Yeah, and I do like this top path because you've got 2 mons that don't need any evos that can be quite impressive against the ones that are. Swinub is really strong as well as the Bulbasaur in the bottom lane, but again, they've countered that with the Cramorant, so they're going to be able to get quite a bit of XP there. Oh, I love the aggressiveness coming in from ONIC Rise from the get-go, trying to steal whatever farm they can from Elevate. They have the mons to do it.
Yeah, when you have something like an A-Press support, like the Hooper there, they do want to contest as much of those neutral farms as possible. Now, I'm really surprised they actually sent that Sobble into that central area. Sobble known for how good it is to secure, but maybe they just want this Pokemon to come online as early as possible to get contest against something like the Combustion, which is now hiding in the bush, waiting for those 850 birds.
Yeah, I love the fact that they got the combustion to that level straight away. So coming into these 850 birds, it's in a pretty strong position because Umbreon hasn't managed to get their Evo yet. They drop a huge amount of damage on it, but here comes Cramorant. They're really putting in some good hurricanes. A lot of those birds have gone to the side of Elevate. They managed to get that Evo. They're going to look if they can be a little bit cheeky, a little bit aggressive, but they see that there's a lot of defense on that goal. So instead, they're going to rotate down to the bottom lane, maybe see what they can grab down here, Fu.
Yeah, I mean, sending that Cramorant up top for that, double gank was so crucial to get some of the burst, to get that slight level lead to go up it. I'm really surprised that Elevate didn't actually push into the central area to even get, more farm, because they had that advantageous position on top. Seems like they just backed away. Maybe the Inteleon or the Drizzle wants that, snipe shot available for those 8-minute birds in the center. Cramorant back at the bottom path here, getting displaced by the Palace line there, but just managed to get out there. They're going to be playing the Hurricane move, so it has a lot of CC potential with that Trevenant as well.
We see these mid-birds come up, and they have literally gone within an instant. Blaziken and Umbreon fighting over them. I think Blaziken managed to grab them, most of them. We did see some snipe shots coming in from the Inteleon. They are up and ready to roll with those snipe shots now. This is going to be really strong for Elevate as we come down into this bottom lane. Oh, a huge hit kick coming in there from the Blaziken. Are they going to be able to pick it up? They do. Umbreon getting a nice bit of damage on the Blaziken there. There's not a lot that they can do if Umbreon's going to protect this Inteleon the way they are doing.
Yeah, kind of a trade there, 1-for-1 at the bottom path here, as we still have 2 members of ONIC Rise staying up in that top path. I mean, that's something good about Hooper, right? You're able to delegate some of your enemies to, I guess, take that positioning, because you have the portals to send the people up and down the path. Hooper, though, getting caught out by the Cramorant. This could be huge. It's only going to be a poor Lapras 1v3 scenario here, not able to just defend this pad, and I mean, Elevate just coming through with those scores on top. The Trevenant is mighty in this bottom path here to maybe stall out the fight. I mean, that is a great position to be in.
It is. They've got some good rip coming into this Regice. They do try and push the Trevenant out of the way, but they end up throwing it into the Regice. They do manage to get the secure though, so ONIC Rise manages to get that bottom Reggie there. Umbreon is just going to try and be a menace in this central area. Lapras trying to get that buff off the Umbreon instead. Cramorant comes in to back up their own partner here. Are they going to be able to drop so much damage onto this Lapras to get the KO? In the meantime though, Fu, they are pushing that bottom lane. This Lecky is probably going to go to Elevate. They just managed to grab it there, but they're going to try and score as many points into this T2 as they can. I kind of like that play from ONIC. They don't want to let up the pressure they see where that top lane is currently going, so they want to alleviate the pressure in the bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. And the Cramorant uniting in the Flux Zone of the enemy team is going to do some massive damage. This Regieleki is very, very healthy at the moment. The Lapras getting sniped out was massive for Elevate, as they are just building this pressure to try to push this Regieleki in the pad. Hooper on 1 HP. The Regieleki is so close to walking in. Venusaur doing its absolute best, but the Cramorant just diving in and out of the fight there. Tano able to do some massive damage and perhaps stall out this fight for the team. A KO streak of 2 here. Snapshot miss, unfortunately. This Lapras is holding on for the dear life here. A KO streak of 3. Surely this Regieleki walks in. Yes, it is going to be successful. And that's going to be a tier 2 pad broken already at this 5-minute 30 mark.
I love that decision from Elevate there, too. They saw the pressure going on in their own bottom lane. They repeat it up in the top lane against ONIC. They know they didn't have the springboard, right? We're not even at 5 minutes yet. So if they manage to grab those KOs, they can do that. They've just done a fantastic push there. But ONIC Rise are going to look to answer themselves. They're going to be able to score quite a few points up in this top goal. It's not going to be enough to break it, I believe, yet. But it has meant that this score is a lot closer. These snipe shots are incredible. Aegislash coming in to pick up the KO on the Mamoswine. There we go. Another KO on the Hooper. Nobody can spot these snipe shots. They are coming in and causing absolute chaos. But Verdant Anger coming out in return with the Lapras in the backline. We have an absolute battle off against Blaziken and Aegislash, and it is the Blaziken that comes out on top.
Yeah, I don't know how Blaziken was able to escape that. Eel doing such a fantastic job. I'm pretty sure that Aegislash tried to unite there, but just the animation time was not enough to get that KO. Lapras yet again chased by this Cramorant. Mamoswine finally online, comes through with the Ice Fang, but yet again, like I said, how important it is for the Cramorant to use that dive move, because it can just get out of sticky situations like that. Aegislash back on top. the only thing it's good at is just ripping the objectives for the team at the moment. Hopefully able to secure that for Elevate. And, with a points lead, this is a great position to be in if they want to, use this time to either farm up the opposition's wild Pokemon. Big KO on that Mamoswine there, because, they don't really need to push this in right now, Tano. They've got that bottom pad if they want to pressure some scores.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really good shout. You're not going to get much from that going in their home base. They're going to have to defend it, but Hooper has answered. They know that they want to try and push this T1, right? Blaziken's here. We see the rest of the team here. A nice beam coming in there to take out that Aegis Slash. They do manage to grab it with the Inteleon. The Inteleon Unite move is just going to pop so much crit, so much damage onto anyone that comes into that little marker that you can see. I say little, it is a huge marker. Anyone is able to get that damage on them there. They do take down the T1, so they're in a much better situation at Elevate now, pulling ahead in this game at the moment.
Yeah, a massive lead now from Elevate. I mean, they're really just running away with it at the moment. I think something that's so good in terms of how they have played this match so far is to break those pads as early as possible, because now that one of the, I guess, the best things about Hooper, that teleportation with the Hooper Highway, you can only use it for 2 pads now. And going into this final stretch, I mean, this is a great position to be in.
Yeah, but what we do have to make note of is we are a minute out of the Rayquaza, right? There is still a T1 up for Elevate there, and it is only 313 to 208 points, right? Having a T1 up coming into the Ray can be quite interesting, or when it comes down to that final stretch, because the double points can make a huge difference, and it's kind of easy to score in. Elevate are going to have to take the decision to defend this pad as well as defending Rayquaza if they want to continue to stay in the lead. It's almost as if ONIC are getting set up for a push onto it here.
Yeah, this could be an early fight here. There is about, I guess, 8 seconds for this Regieleki to, I guess, be able to be converted by Elevate here. I think they just want to get some sort of positioning, maybe some sort of aggression, a pick or a few going into this fight. Because if they can get something like a Mamo Unite out, that just sets them up into a fantastic way to start that final stretch. So a little bit of poke coming in through from ONIC Rise as well, seeing whether they can just jump on and, oh, that beam on the Cramorant though forces the heals from the Umbreon there, and this could be an early engage. We know ONIC Rise is behind. They need to find some sort of opportunity here, Tano.
Yeah, the thing is, though, the poke that comes in from the beam is so strong. You do have the Inteleon doing the same in return, but you can almost lose half of your health from either of those poke situations. The thing is, Elevate are in the lead. It is ONIC that are going to have to come up with some sort of answer here. They're going to have to take the engage. Mamoswine trying to pick up on the Cramorant. They spotted where they were, but they did manage to come out. Huge beam picking up the Umbreon there. That means they are down their defense, and also the support from the heals. Trevenant picking up the Mamoswine. We have a bit of a defender of, and we see the Lapras floating in on that serve. They're trying to concentrate on the Inteleon. They know the amount of damage that can drop with the snipe shot that it has, but oh my god, Aegis Slash is answering down here. Verdant Anger does come out. They try and pick up the Inteleon. Oh my god, it's a 1v1 there, and they do take out each other. It does seem like it is still just the Lapras trying to survive here. They pick up the Trevenant, but I think an Umbreon and an Aegis Slash is going to be a bit too much for them, and there we go. Elevate has managed to wipe out ONIC there. If they can just continue to defend this race, they are going to take this first game.
Yeah, Aegis Slash stepping up to the occasion here with a KO streak of 3. Fantastic. There is not a lot of time left, but only 100 and, I guess, 5 points difference between them. There is still possibly time, but they need to get in and rip this Rayquaza right now. They have the Blaziken able to secure if they can get a few KOs here. Aegis Slash slashing and dashing through. Gets knocked out by the Venusaur though. 29 seconds on the clock. They need to make a decision right now, Tano, as teams of Elevate are coming back in the situation. Massive snipe with a Cram to convert that Mamoswine as well. Beams are just flying through from ONIC Rise at the moment, but they are running out of time. Elevate just needs to stall this fight out a little bit more. It is going to be the Cramorant to secure that, and securing them, I guess, just the points lead and the confirmation that they have won this game #1.
What I love to see there, it was hard to keep up with it, was the Umbreon went for a back cap, right? They got 43 points in on the back cap. That was because, like, obviously it was coming down to that time where literally all ONIC could do was either rip it and trying to get that flip and go for a score. They knew the T1 was up, so sending your Umbreon to go and get a back cap just to make sure that if they do manage to get a score on that T1, you are still in the lead, was a really good shout for Elevate there.
Yeah, when I first saw Umbreon getting knocked out at the start of that fight, I think you called out. I was like, "Oh, Elevate is in kind of like a disadvantaged position, right?" But somehow they come through. I guess even the Lapras unite with the Blaziken, I thought was such a great engage. But the fact that the Cramorant was able to just unite the full duration without anyone looking at it was just incredible. Because the damage output coming out from that Gatling Gold missile is just phenomenal, right? Going to that and looking at the damage screen as well, it's pretty obvious the synergy between the snipes coming out from Inteleon and then Cramorant able to convert those KOs by the boosted attacks, right? We saw a lot of the occasion, if the snipe shot did not KO, the Cramorant was there in position to make sure that either the Blazing gets knocked out or the Venusaur got knocked out. But what a first game going into these loser finals.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And we just heard from production, I believe, that Elevate are currently playing with two subs, but they played fantastically well. I'd love to see how well they defended that Inteleon with their snipe shots coming in. Nobody could get onto it. And the Venusaur had a hell of a game as well with their beams. So it seems like the answer there, the range was just so strong in both situations. But Elevate coming out with the win there. I mean, what what can you do for ONIC Rise? Because I feel like it was a rather close game. It did seem like Elevate was getting a bit ahead there, but coming in, it could have just been a Rayquaza fight that made the difference in that game.
I mean, something to note as well is I think the fact that they have that Blaziken secure potential with the Solar Beam as well. Maybe there was
Mm.
an opportunity after picking up the Umbreon to maybe start at pulling the Ray a little bit, maybe getting up to half HP, seeing whether they can make Elevate panic a little bit. Because I think for the most of that game, Elevate was just in like first class flight ticket, right? In terms of how comfortable they were. They had the lead. They broke T2 so early on. They had the Regieleki potentially walking in, and in that second scenario there. I mean, it was just like you have to shake it up a little bit when
Mm.
you're going up against a team that has such a big lead, over going into that raid fight in terms of the paths that have broken. You got to do something there, especially if you have like a Hooper available, potentially like a back cap. You mentioned before, you just to I guess sway the favor a little bit more in your side.
Mm.
And then if worst comes to worst, you lose the Rayquaza. Well, so be it. You've tried. But in that scenario, the Rayquaza was just so I guess in terms of HP, it had so much HP until the last moment. But then Cramorant got it anyway. So what a fantastic first match though by Elevate.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the thing is, though, Elevate had the two range, right? So it wasn't just the fact that you had to worry about the Inteleon, and they did seem like they were worried about the Inteleon, but we saw the 98k coming in from the Cramorant there as well, too. So it's
Mm.
almost as if having both of those range attackers, like, yeah, we had the Hurricane and the Dive working a treat for Cramorant. It kind of showed that it wasn't just an Inteleon you had to worry about. You also had the Cramorant that was a threat. You had really strong front line in front of it. So, yeah, it was fantastic to see. But we're going to head into this next game. Let's see if Elevate can back themselves up again and take the win straight away, or if ONIC Rise have the answer for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important match for ONIC Rise here. They do not want to lose this. This is their last chance to, lock in a spot in the grand finals to get the redemption against MYS here. I'm very keen to see whether there's going to be a switch up in terms of bans. We saw that Mimikyu ban last game. Maybe it gets to play this game if Blaziken was an issue for them. I don't really think so, to be honest. But Slowbro coming in here, another classic. We don't get to see Slowbro much anymore. No one likes this lockdown character. Leafeon, another ban we saw last game as well, coming out from Elevate. I mean, if you're the position of ONIC Rise here, do you think you'll change up the bans here, Tana?
A little bit. I understand the Cerulege band that we're coming in with here for the second band that they've got. It is quite strong. I mean, I was having a conversation with Ghatlue yesterday about it, and he feels it's probably one of the strongest coming out of the patch if you exclude Charizard. But that's another thing that we've not mentioned, right? I don't know if it's played much in this region at the moment. We didn't really see any of it yesterday, but Charizard came out of that patch probably with the biggest difference with the Unite moves. If you don't want to deal with those Unite moves, such as a Mimikyu or the Slowbro, it is an answer, but I don't think we're going to see much of it here.
Yeah, well, double evolution ban from Elevate here. No more Umbreon available for both of these teams, but Zoe's going to lock in the Hooper for their support player. And I'm keen to see what the response is coming out from Elevate there, as they have the ability to choose two Pokemons going up against it. Dragonite is going to be an interesting thing. No, Junior Absent is going to go for potentially the Mimikyu let out of the ban jail, along with a Tempest on that Trevenant there, Tano.
Yeah, if you've got all-rounders that strong that are not banned, you're gonna pick them up, right? Espeon getting picked up on the side of ONIC Rise there, but also the Crustle. So if you can't get a Trevenant, I think a Crustle is a very good shout. I feel like it is so strong in the meta at the moment. It does a surprising amount of damage. Even if you use the Rock Tomb and the Stealth Rocks, it can be really strong if you pair that with something such as, I don't know, a Psyshock Espeon, a Hyper Voice Sylveon. When you are trapped, you can't get away from that damage.
No, you can't. And I am gonna be surprised. Gonna say I'm a bit surprised at your picking up the Espeon here. I feel like Espeon is just so hard to play into Mimikyu. It's great against Trevenant here, and potentially okay into a Cramorant. But the fact that if Mimikyu locks onto you, you're pretty much gonna not be able to escape there. Yes, there's Hooper Portal, but I feel like if they're going for the play rough set, Espeon just gets sent back to home base real quick there. But we have the Charizard there. Something I wanted to mention, Tano, is because there is no more Slowbro to stop the Cramorant Unite. There is no more Mimikyu to stop the Cramorant Unite because it's on the same team. The only other Pokemon that can really deny Cramorant from just going all out in terms of its damage is going to be that Charizard Unite, which you've seen change that recent patch, right? So another evolution as well coming out from AXQ. Sylveon, I think, is a great pick here. Able to, be so versatile and so strong in that early game.
Yeah, and as I say, I predicted the Charizard. I'm gonna go and open my own future talent shop in a moment. But yes, the thing is, right, also the Mimikyu. So the Mimikyu is going to try and target somebody within these really important objective fights. And if it is a grouped up team fight, the Charizard can just unite that Mimikyu and drop a huge amount of damage and be back in a 5v5 situation. I love the Charizard pick here. I think it's really strong. I also love the Sylveon paired with the Crustle, but we've seen how strong this Cramorant can be when it's paired with another ranged mon. They've decided to go away from the Inteleon, pick up the Decidueye. If it's going to be Spirit Shackle, it's going to be a very much repeat of that first game through where they've got two ranged attackers that they really need to be concerned about.
Yeah, and in terms of having that range that I guess the Decidueye offers, I feel like it's gonna be just the pressure on the Sylveon to really deal with that issue. There's not a lot of conventional dives coming out from ONIC Rise here, so I'm keen to see whether they're gonna go for that Mystical Fire set, which probably offers a little bit more dive. But game number 2 going in, things are heating up. We need ONIC Rise to take back this game if they want to have that game 3 scenario here, as Cramorant is going to make their way into that bottom path with the Phantom there.
Yeah, I also love the jungle split that we're getting here from ONIC. They've got 2 evolutions. They're going to try and get them online as soon as possible. We're at 9:36, and we have a Sylveon and an Espeon. That is going to be really strong coming into any lane that they want to repress here. Charmander doing some well to defend against this Mimikyu. It can be so oppressive just from the get-go because obviously they don't need to get that Evo. Glossifer with a nice invade. Well, the Hooper, sorry, with the invade. But it's going to be so strong from there for them there.
Yeah, I think did Zoe knock out the Rowlet there? I'm pretty sure it did because the Rowlet had to go back to home base there. So very well done by Zoe there. Not only able to get that rep buff, but also picking up himself with a potential KO there. That Espeon gank is so important so early on, as you mentioned. And look at that. They've got all of ONIC Rise, apart from the Crustle, pivoted up on top for this 850 burst here. A lot of pressure coming in from ONIC Rise, which I love to see. You want to keep that Mimikyu from coming online as late as possible. It doesn't really do much until it hits that 5 and 7 level mark, and that's something that the Charmeleon also wants as well. So making sure that Charizard coming online to get the levels is so vital for this early game fight here. Look at how fast the Sylveon is able to shred down that Dartrix there, Tano. Fantastic work from ONIC Rise so far.
Yeah, I love the pickup of the Mystical Fire. Triple KO coming in for the Sylveon. It's so oppressive for the early game. It's going to be so strong if they manage to get that Charizard up and running with a lead on their team there. ONIC Rise with a really good answer so far coming into this game. Elevate Unite have rotated 3 down to the bottom lane. They don't seem to be concentrating on this jungle because they just know that ONIC Rise are in there. They belong there. They're setting up camp there, too. It is their jungle now. So there's not a lot that they can do, although Datrix is going to try and go and grab that blow buff. But look how much of a menace this Sylveon is being. Nobody can answer to it at the moment just because it has such a strong level. We're at 740, Fu, and we still have a Glossifer.
to do is just give up the Centurion at the moment. There's no point trickling and giving the Sylveon the levels that it wants at the moment. We have a level 8 Espeon. The Sylveon's about to hit that level 8 mark as well. I mean, if they continue giving these evolutions levels, Tano, this mid game is going to be incredibly hard at these objectives because they are not going to have the Unite move to go up against some of these evolutions.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really strong to look at this oppression. It is such a good answer. The Charizard is there. They're going to drop a huge amount of damage. The Espeon getting a nice 2 KO there. Let's see how many scores go in. It's on 7. Oh, they're going to get a nice overcap. Not too bad. 19 overcap that they can get. 111 to 58 for ONIC. It seems like they're going to concentrate on the bottom R Elevate, but the Crustle is going to try and do what they can to zone them out. Charizard's going to concentrate on the Lecky. Elevate is just going to try and get some XP and get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a strong start for them. They do lose that Regieleki though, so finally, I guess, a sigh of relief for Elevate here. They have some sort of time waster for ONIC Rise to deal with that, as they're going to possibly look for some of these neutral farms, or even in that central area. They have that revenge arc coming in through Tano, as they're looking to get those levels from stealing the opposition's buffs. Yet again, the Sylveon is doing a fantastic job to make the Decidueye's life a living hell at the moment. Just running down, we talked about how strong it is, and it's just showing off its incredible ability to just put pressure and damage and take down the Decidueye.
Yeah, I mean, when you pair it with the Espeon as well, we see the Psychic Solaire coming out. They take the KOs. 2 KOs for Espeon yet again. The Eevee show is absolutely ramping up in this game at the moment. Through the Decidueye isn't able to do much but grab whatever XP it can see. Really strong from ONIC Rise from the get-go. They are in the lead. The game is moving more to their way. The levels are slightly to the side of ONIC as well. Elevate seem to really want to concentrate on picking up those yellow dots that they're seeing come up on their screen.
Absolutely, and I think Elevate needs to really choose their next fight quite carefully here. They have that late game team. They know if they get the levels, they're going to be a little bit stronger in those team fight scenarios, but now this could be a crucial pick. No, the Sylveon uses the Fairy Frog to get out of that sticky situation. Espeon there doing damage with that store power. You click a button and a whole chunk of HP just goes off from the enemy there. So what a fantastic Pokemon they've chosen to, I guess, accommodate with the Sylveon as well. Most of Elevate is now pivoting to this bottom path here. They are just suffering to this Hooper highway at the moment. Look at this. They have that ability to do that top objective while they stall it at the bottom, depending on whether they can actually defend this. It's going to be a 28 over dunk, so very good break from Elevate there. They really need this because they want those levels, Tano.
Yeah, but I really like ONIC deciding to just let them have that pad rather than try and, give them some catch-up KO XP. But Hooper popping out their rings there, so they're gonna bring everybody down from ONIC Rise, except they picked up the Lecky. Really strong fight. We do see the Trevenant Unite move coming out. They pick up the Charizard there too, so that's a lot of damage they're not gonna have in this fight, and they're gonna answer by taking down the Sylveon. Are they gonna catch up on the Hooper? The Registeel does get secured. Hooper gets secured. That is a huge amount of catch-up XP that Elevate was trying to grab.
Yeah, that is a fantastic fight for them. I think they really sacked that top Regieleki, saying that, it can go in. Maybe they'll get a 1 dunk in, but for the... Oh, but the bait there, Tano, to just get the Paramount Unite to go off, but Eeyore still able to score that, so I guess it does still leave them in a vulnerable situation there. That tier 2 pad is on 2 or 3 points, so perhaps if the Crustle goes, just to break that pad, that creates immense pressure in this top path for them. Cramorant looking to score in 28 there. We have the Flareblitz coming in from Charizard. Just unites to get out of that sticky situation. Play with me from Mimikyu. He's going to shut that Unite down, and it's just going to be a cluster to try to stall this fight out on top. Sylveon comes to help. The Rubble Rouser able to keep them sustained there. No, another KO for this Mimikyu. This is a dangerous situation now for ONIC Rise, but they do pick out that Mimikyu and shuts down any sort of offense. I was just going to say, Tano, Mimikyu is so good at getting some of those comeback experience because it can just pop off using its Shadow Sneak and Play Rough combo. But I mean, the Sylveon there able to just shut it down was so crucial. And with Zoe breaking that pad as well, Tano, this is another, I guess, kind of like a flip of the switch of what we saw in game number 1, right?
Yeah, it really is. ONIC Rise are now on the really strong position coming into this last minute of the game. It was Elevate last time. So this Lecky is going to be up. It can be ripped, and it is going to be very close to Rayquaza. So it could be a win condition. Elevate know that. They are all here. We have all 5 Mons up in this lane. Everybody from ONIC Rise is on their way. We might have an early engage for the Rayquaza fight. Mimikyu is getting started on the Lecky. We do see the Decidueye there with the Spirit Shackle. I feel like they're probably just going to have a bit of a sort of combat up here between each of the teams. I don't think anyone's going to get this Lecky because everybody's there to defend it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dance battle, right? None of the teams really want to commit at the moment. They know the final stretch is very important for this game here. Crustle creating a great position for the team, getting vision and scoping it out. Most of Elevate is now going to pivot down there. They want that space made. They are behind. They need to make sure they get a good pick there. But that Charizard Unite pending is going to be quite a scary idea for them to kind of deal with at the moment. Good pokes coming out from the Decidueye. Crustle ejecting to go through, not able to connect, unfortunately, and has to just quickly pivot back. It is so low, gets displaced by the Trevenant there, has to pop the Rubble Rouser to stay in the fight. Charizard Unite goes off, burns into the enemy central area, but the play with me Mimikyu to shut it down once again. Sylveon picking off that Decidueye. Another one down for the Mimikyu, and Hooper with some bound is going to try to bring people in, but one by one, ONIC Rise is going down. It is going to be another 3-3 scenario, maybe a refight potential, but if they can get the pick on the Hooper, this is massive for Elevate Unite.
It's just the Sylveon and the Espeon here as well, Fu. That Cramorant was just able to do so much damage. We see the Psychic Solaire coming out. Are they going to pick up the Mimikyu? They do manage to grab the Mimikyu. Sylveon is trying to do whatever they can to distract this damage. Everybody else is here. Who's going to get the secure? It's this Decidueye! Spirit Shackle straight through the Rayquaza. They get the secure to elevate a triple KO coming in for Cramorant. We are going to have Hundo Burgers galore. We see the 30 come in there for Trevenant. A nice Hundo Burger for Cramorant. Another Hundo Burger for Elder God. Surely this is going to be the Hundo Burgers and a little bit of extra sides for Elevate. 511 points with 20 seconds out. This is going to be Elevate winning the losers finals 2-0, Fu.
I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. I think the Sylveon and the Espeon did a fantastic job at stalling that fight out, but Decidueye with his arrow, we talk about the secure potential. They managed to bring it back really from, I guess, the depths of going into a Game 3 scenario, but Elevate there, rising up to the occasion to show everyone they deserve a spot after going through the losers bracket all day today to go up against NYS.
And that is such a fantastic story, right? You end up going down into the losers bracket after the first game. You play all the way through the losers bracket and you come in to the grand final and you're going up against a team that has dominated today as well with Team NYS. So yeah, I'm with you though, Fu. I feel like those evolutions were so strong for ONIC as well as the rotation from the Hooper. It was so incredible. But there's going to be the perfect person here to analyze it for us. Danelie, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, that series was incredible. I didn't actually think it would be a 2-0 either. I thought there would be a very good chance that we'd have that full 3-game series, but Elevate really managed in game number 2. Their end game was beautifully executed. I love that the draft they went that they were sort of went for, and even though they probably had one of the worst early games I've seen in such a long time, they made the comeback happen at that Reggie fight in the bottom lane, where it looked like it was going to be ONIC to swipe away the Reggie. I think it was a Reggie Seal. They baited them into the bush and they just clashed and they bodies hit the floor. The experience that was able to equalize in that moment, I really feel like that was such a big turning point, because after that you could see Elevate really ramp up in their aggression and being much more confident in a lot of their late game maneuvers. I think it was at the 4 minute 30-second mark. That was the key moment for this team to actually come back into the game, because if ONIC kept them suppressed, I think we'd be looking at a game 3 here. But incredible plays across the board. I will say, great stuff as well coming out from ONIC. I think especially after game number 1, you could tell that they really felt that they had to be the ones in the driver's seat in the early game. They kind of struggled in that first game. And so with the early picks, the evolutions, right? Axeq, This man with the jungle invades, that was dirty. That almost felt illegal with how much he was able to get away with. But it's also just the nature of having that Sylveon. And they were super efficient with the rotation as well. AXQ in that central area of Elevate. And then Eeyore's like, hey, I'm going to take this bottom farm. Just great, great stuff across the board. I'm very excited to see what Elevate's going to bring to the table against MYS because I know, and anyone that has been following the Asia region, there's always been talks of MYS and ONIC being arch rivals. But I kind of feel like Elevate is that X factor that could really shake things up in that sort of three-way team matchup. Also, they're very familiar with each other, so it's not like it's going to be completely dark horse. No one knows anything, but oh, this grand final is going to be super fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the, I guess, turning points in that Rayquaza fight we saw in the last game was Dev kind of flying over the bridge into the enemy central area, but then it kind of just ran out of juice when the Mimikyu Unite just shut it down. We talked
Yeah.
about how Charizard is a great way to stop the Cramorant Unite from going through its full duration, but it didn't actually get to pick up the Cramorant and then actually got countered by the Mimikyu there. And then, once Zoe got knocked out from the Hooper, there was just no way to keep the team sustained. And I mean, what a fantastic secure, though, by that
Yeah.
decision.
I'm actually so happy you kind of brought up that moment with Zoe because I'm not sure if this was him thinking that he was going to be able to safely come back into the fight. I thought he would actually just teleport back in, but he decided,
Mm,
okay, I'm going to portal back, walks into two, and his team
yeah.
isn't there with him, right? So I'm not sure if it was a moment of panic or if he felt like ONIC thought they needed vision to know what was happening. But
Mm.
I kind of, it makes you wonder. I'm not sure about you two. Do you actually think that this would have actually been much closer in the end game if Zoe didn't get KO'd so quickly?
What do you think,
Um,
Dano?
well, I mean, yeah, but possibly. For me, like that when it came down to that end game, I think the pivotal thing for me was the Charizard managing
Yeah.
to get that KO. I think the
Mm,
fact that Cramorant managed to get its entire Unite move damage off
mm.
whilst there was people from ONIC in range, I think that made for me that's the biggest difference in that final fight. I think, yeah, if Charizard managed to pick up the Cramorant, maybe that would have been the difference.
I think the other
Yeah.
point as well is I think the Hooper had to unite to kind of bring the teammates back because I think Zoe noticed how far in the team was, and they had such a great lead going into that Ray fight. They didn't really need to be that, I guess, oppressive into the enemy central area there. But the fact that they had to use their unite to bring people back, but then teammates were actually knocked out, so it was kind of a waste. And then when it was crunch time, they didn't have the unite to bring people in because they were knocked out by the Mimikyu. It was kind of like a series of unfortunate events leading up to that, right?
Yeah, very possible. And we also need to talk about the team compositions as well, right? When you
Mm,
are looking at that Rayquaza battle, you take a look at Onyx team. This is not a team that wants to take that Rayquaza. They take it pretty slowly with their lineup of Pokemon. So I can
mm.
absolutely understand what they were trying to do with that very, very aggressive play, pushing Elevate onto their side of the map, but then just sort of not realizing that, hey, we're not getting enough knockouts to make this work, and then getting counter knocked out. Um, and also, I suppose the play with Eeyore and Axew, that final hurrah, right, where they tried to sort of jump into the Rayquaza pit, hoping that they could sort of burst Elevate before they take down the Rayquaza. They just didn't have enough juice between the two of them. It kind of makes you wonder if it wasn't Mystical Fire on Axew and he was actually running Hyper Voice, would that have been a successful maneuver between the two?
We'll only know if we shift timelines, I guess. But I think they wouldn't have had that oppressive jungle invade. I guess I wouldn't even call it invade anymore. They really just stayed in the enemy center area. They booked a great 1 week vacation in that center area there against that decision why for the better part of that game. I mean, we only they would kind of know in terms of what moves they want to pick and what decisions they want to make there. But definitely very unfortunate. I do agree.